Good morning, Hope Grace. Good morning, I Live for Now. And every other person around. Good morning. KJ is home. HOME. I got to sleep in my bed last night and it felt so good. Although I will say the RV bed is really comfortable. It's not the same. It really isn't. We made it home in one piece. I can't stand being on the road very long. Y'all notice my little comedic short there, I'm sure. Fancy Nancy, good morning. Welcome. Hello, Jennifer Cheney. Good morning. Jill Schneider, hello. How are you? Do I look rested, y'all? Do I look like I've had a good vacation? Well, let me just tell y'all that OKJ being 52 years old and having a little pains here and there, we had a lot of walking to do, which is probably better that I did do that because I don't do it enough around here. I know Donna Donald's been walking every day. I should get in that routine, but I'm not about to do it because I don't have nobody really that I want to walk with at this moment. Hello, Dee Dee Sunshine, Chris Arnett, Vintage Mama of 3, Teresa. Well, thank you, Jill. I bet you look marvelous too. Hello, Ron Hensley. How are you? Well, folks, I got up this morning and you know how I told y'all before I left I was going to have to tidy things up, and I did. I even made the bed and everything so when we came home, the bed would be made and I wouldn't have to mess with it and all that. But there's always that but there right in my face. I've got laundry from this week because we didn't wash clothes during the whole vacation. And in fact, I only cooked a little during the week. Most of the time we ate out, but we just had a lot of things to bring back into the house. Things that we brought with us, like a bag of sugar or stuff out of the refrigerator in the RV has to go back into the refrigerator. Um, just everything else is tidied up, but I've got stuff sitting all over the counters and all of that I've got to put away. I got to get back into the swing of things. It always seems like, even if I'm only gone for half a week, when I come home, it's like, oh, I love being home, but then you look around you and there's just so much to do. Hello, X-Files. Well, glad you got that coffee going there. Good morning, CSI Crowdsource Illuminations. Well, thank you, Jennifer Cheney. I got to let the cat in. All right, go to the food bowl. I guess there's another one coming around here, too. Well, I guess you'll come when you come. Okay. So, I'm wearing my robe because it's a little chilly this morning, y'all. My son CJ gave a name to my robe years ago. It was his last year of riding the school bus to school before he got a car. So that's a few years back. He calls my robe the Gray Ghost Robe. Doesn't that sound spooky? Well, let me tell you the story about the Gray Ghost Robe. CJ would go walk to the end of the driveway every morning before he was able to drive a car and get his license. And he never missed the school bus. Never. In a whole school year, the last time he rode the school bus, he missed the school bus twice. Well, the first time he missed that school bus, he come knocking on my bedroom door, and I was asleep. And he woke me up and he said, "Mom, I've missed the bus." And I was like, "Oh crap!" So I got up, I had my pajama pants, pajama top, and I threw on my gray ghost robe, which I didn't know it was going to be one. So we're going down the road, and his school is probably about a 20-minute drive from where we're at. And we're right getting out of the rural areas of fields and trees and all of that stuff. And we're starting to get into town, with the stores and more traffic and all that. And folks, I'll share it with you. We're adults here. OKJ had a need to go to the bathroom. I had to take a shit, okay? I mean, it just hit me hard. And I told CJ, I said, I'm going to get you there as fast as I can. I've got to stop somewhere to use the bathroom because I'm fixing to unload, y'all. I know y'all want to hear this on a Monday, but you'll see what I'm talking about here. So I decided that I was going to stop at a Hardee's, because right when you walk in the door of the Hardee's, the bathrooms are right there. You don't have to walk through there to get to the bathrooms. It's right inside the door. I thought I'd just go in, go in there, do what I had to do. I was wearing a robe and pajama tops and some slippers. I didn't think I'd have to get out of the car, y'all. I didn't think I'd have to, when I got dressed. I should have just got fully dressed, but I was in such a hurry to get him to school so he wouldn't be late. So I go in there and I use the bathroom. I'm feeling so much better, y'all. I come back out. I open up the car door, get in, and Andrew, CJ's laughing. I'm like, what are you laughing about? He said, Mama, when you got out of that car, he said, you look like a ghost floating into that Hardee's. You didn't want no one to know you was there. You just floating on through that door in your gray ghost robe. That's when he said, your gray ghost robe was just floating on in there to get to the bathroom and floating on out, hoping that nobody would see you. So from then on out, I've had it for years. It's called my gray ghost robe. You know what I'm talking about, y'all. I don't like going to public restrooms in the first place, especially if there's people in there. Just sitting there, you're trying to do that, it's just so nerve-wracking anyway. And I just didn't want no one to see me, basically. So, I should have got dressed, but I didn't. So that's the story of the gray ghost robe. But I did get him to school on time. And I don't think, y'all, honestly, I don't think that anyone saw me, because it was like 6:30 in the morning. And although Hardee's is pretty busy, everybody was over in the dining area, and I just slipped through that door and slipped right on out. I don't think anyone saw me. But then years later, it's like, what the hell? Look at the people in Walmart. They go in there with pajama pants on and everything. They just strutting it on down through there, But I guess it's just my old-fashioned nature. I just thought I was going to get in the car and take him to school and come home, take my robe off, and go right back to bed. But it didn't work out that way. When something hits you like that, woo, you got to go. Yes, right, CSI. No one saw me because I was in my ghost robe. But it really was all about, he said the way it looked, I floated in. Like I was, just floating in that door and floating through the other door and coming back throughout. And he said that when I went through there, I was just kind of swiftly going through there. It's like the back of my robe was like moving and everything. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's funny now when he comes to visit me, he drives up in his vehicle and stuff, and every now and then he'll get on to me and say, Mom, you still got that gray ghost robe? Precious memories, how they linger. I'm telling you right now, y'all, I wasn't feeling precious going in that Hardee's to take a shit. I can tell you that right now. Oh, I hate those kind of stores, RD and AC. Over here, you got to go to the counter and ask for the code or key to get in the restroom. No, I've done staked it out, y'all. I mean, I'm just gonna confess this. At 52 years of age, you know, if I'm in town and I've got to do number one or number two, I know the stores that I can go in where I can relatively get in and out without having any problems. Once in a blue moon, I'll go to one and all the stalls are full and I'll have to wait a minute, but uh, it's very rare. Right, CSI. What if I would have had to ask the Hardee's cashier there, hey, can I have the key to the shitter? And everybody standing in line there could see me in my gray ghost robe I was wearing these. So, you know, I was half asleep. I wasn't thinking to get dressed, y'all. All I wanted was to get him in school to school on time. And the sweetest thing was when I realized it was hitting me on the way to school and I knew I'd have to stop somewhere to go to the bathroom. CJ was like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I missed the bus. I'm like, it's no big deal, CJ. It's just let me get over here. Let me squeeze one off. I gotta get you to school. So does everybody want to talk some silliness today or some nonsense? Would that be so far-fetched in this day and time, huh? You know, I was reading an article last week about this doctor down in Florida. He's got cancer, y'all. I don't know what stage he's in, but they busted him on his yacht. He had a bunch of cocaine and unregistered firearms. He was a doctor, a well-known doctor. They arrested him. There are rumors that there was a bunch of women on there providing their services. I'll say it like that. And then there's this whole idea of this Corey Fleming of the Alex Murdaugh trial. And he has been sentenced to 20 years for helping Alex Murdaugh. And he was an attorney, went to law school, made all kinds of money. There's nothing more nonsensical than when we read in the headlines, it don't matter who you are. It don't matter if you've got money out the ass. It don't matter if you're living on the streets. People are doing these things to get thrown into jail and prison because they can't see that they still have their freedom. That's nonsense. We see it every single day, y'all. People would give their left nut, if you were a guy, to have what this doctor down here in Florida had, or this Corey Fleming who had this really prominent career as an attorney, and he's still in settlements for Alex Murdaugh and pocketing it. It's like they lose all reason. Hey, if I do this, there is the possibility I could get busted and I'll end up in prison. Y'all check out Law and Crimes. Corey Fleming's statement there talking about he takes full responsibility and how he had such a good life and all that. And the reason I bring this up is because when Wayne and I was at the campground, if we would have had a state-of-the-art, brand new 2023, 2022 RV there, I guarantee you there was 10 more in there that was 50 times better. Now, Krisha K. Easton has been in my RV, and she says it's pretty nice, but it's an older model. It's a 2014. So I took that information, as we all know, the information of it doesn't matter what kind of income you have, because there's always going to be somebody there that's going to have it better than you, and obviously there's always going to be someone who's going to have it less than you. And it's not really about doing comparisons. I'm very well aware of this don't covet your neighbor stuff. You know, just because your neighbor has something doesn't mean that, you know, you've got to have that. I don't believe when Nancy Bergbauer was talking about eating a great big cinnamon roll, that I was coveting her by going out and getting a cinnamon roll when I went to Bristol. I was just there. My motivation was to rub it in back, because she's rubbing it into all of us out of love, of course. Just knowing that Nancy Bergbauer was able to eat her yummy cinnamon roll, and the fact that I got to show off a Wandy of a dandy cinnamon roll from Blackbird Bakery. I enjoyed that. But back to this nonsense. You know how I jump around and everything? Well, think about it like this. How many times, Rays, have we talked about that these perpetrators in these crimes, such as Chad and Lori, or Ruby Frank and Jody Hildebrandt, they've got every damn thing in the world to move forward about before they started all this crap. Where is it in life where you get to that point where you're willing to throw away your career, your reputation, your freedom, and live behind bars? Is the life that they had so bad that they're willing to roll the dice and do this crazy ass stuff? Child murder, child abuse. I was talking to Crash yesterday via text message about Tim Ballard, and some of y'all don't know who that is, but he got really big in this rescue and child trafficking. He was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now the church has called him out and said that he's betrayed them and all that. What is a person willing to do? What is a person willing to do to break laws? And I'm not saying Tim Ballard has, but I think it's an ethical issue. But they're willing to do it for more money or fame, and yet they don't have enough sense to realize what they have already. I mean, make no mistake, y'all. I'm not that stupid to not know that there are people probably on this channel that struggle from paycheck to paycheck. But make the best of it. Do the best. Would not be willing to do anything unethical or illegal to better your economic status or your prominence or anything like that. Just as this doctor down in Florida who's got cancer, and in my view, I'm thinking, oh, he threw this great big party with all these loose women, and he had all this cocaine and he was getting high and all that. He just, I'm going to die anyway and all that. The bottom line is he chose to put illegal things on his boat. There was a lot of legal things he could have done to had one hell of a party. And now he's sitting in a freaking jail cell. And he probably won't spend a lot of time in jail. He had some, I think they said 44 grams of cocaine and some unregistered guns. And they're investigating whether those were trafficked prostitutes. And here he is. He just wanting to have some fun. But there's all kinds of ways, folks, that a person can have fun without doing a bunch of crazy ass shit. I mean, is it that you see it on TV where they're having these big parties and you think that's the kind of scene I want to have and I want to create that. That's going to bring me some stimulation, some happiness. God only knows what he spent on the party itself. Drugs aside, I mean, you had to have food, fuel for this big yacht. Wayne says it costs a lot of money to fuel up one of them yachts, much less own a yacht. The mainstream media covered it up as an accident, but it was streamed to Facebook, says Costco. And I don't know if we're talking about the same thing there, y'all. Hey, good morning, KJ. What story did I walk into? Well, hey, Nay. Well, I was just talking about, why not talk about nonsense and things that are silly or whatever, because it seems like any story that we get in the news, people are throwing away very valid and I would say, valuable lives to break laws in search of having more. They're wanting more than what they have. And they're, like I said earlier, there are people who give their left arm to have what some of these people have. I mean, look at Ruby Frank, for instance. She was doing the 8 passengers. 2.5 million people were subscribed to her. She was making money. She was able to have these loans from that Paycheck Protection Program. $80,000. I don't know what you do with $80,000, right? Y'all saw Ruby Frank's house. Just my opinion. I think her husband's a good-looking man. He was working as an engineer and professor engineer over at BYU. It seemed like everything that they could ever want, all they have to do is raise their kids. And if they made a decision that they didn't want to put the kids on there anymore, she still could have come on there and talked about things that she did without having her kids on there. To get mixed up with Ruby and Jody together like that, it just reminds me of this fire and water thing, or fire and gasoline thing that happened with Chad and Lori. I mean, you bring these two kinds of people together, y'all, this is my theory about it. She got her husband Kevin to leave for 18 months because that's what Jody wanted. Y'all, why would a woman want another woman's husband to leave? Y'all, my theory, my hypothesis, y'all gonna probably think this is cringeworthy, but I think that Jody and Ruby had a thing going. I don't know on what level. I'm not saying they got sexual together. I don't know. It could have been emotional stuff. It could have been. That's just my view. I see the body language, and I've heard what's been said once they've been in jail, where Ruby's all she's concerned about is Jody. I think Jody had a good context for justifying splitting that family apart. And I don't think that Jody necessarily fought against that. I think she probably wanted that break from her husband. Donna Donald says Jody is a major predator. Ruby is just one of many. Yes, hey, Nay, I did. I did watch that. It was on Mormon Stories, the niece with the tattoos and everything. Yeah, that was so sad. Absolutely sad. It is cringeworthy, Jennifer Chaney. I guess what I'm trying to do, I mean, I'm putting the material out here on what the subject is, but what I'm trying to get to the root of the issue is why is it that anybody, if I mean, I don't know Chad and Lori, I don't know Ruby or Jody, I don't know this man down in Florida, I don't know this attorney who just got sentenced to 20 years in prison in South Carolina who was helping Alex Murdaugh steal all this money. I don't know none of them. But I guarantee you, if somebody sat down with me and listed out what their income, and the right income, not the stolen money, but all the good things they had going for them, the family, the friends, the reputation, maybe even at one time they had the attributes that men and women should have. But obviously, they wanted more. They wanted more. This Fleming guy, he thought he was going to get away with taking this money. It was going to be easy money because who was he working with? He was working with Alex Murdaugh, and nobody thought that Alex Murdaugh could be touched. He felt safe. He felt safe to take vulnerable people's money away. You know, today, they're going to have that hearing that no one's going to get to see about the custody of the kids, y'all. I'm telling you, I don't feel good about Kevin getting custody of those kids But with that said, these children are going to want to be with a parent. And then they're also going to have another hearing where Ruby and Jody there are possibly, they've been recommended for bond. What's interesting that I picked out, though, y'all, listen to this. They have reported on this bail hearing, they've given reasons why Ruby should get out on bail. But they don't give any reasons for Jody getting out. So wouldn't it be interesting if Ruby was able to post bail, but Jody Hildebrandt does not? You know, there's this thing, y'all. Some people think that Jody was a predator to Ruby, and poor Ruby's the victim, folks. This is not much different than people saying Chad had Lori do these things. If Chad wouldn't have had Lori under his spell, she'd have never done these things to the kids. Folks, Ruby is a mother, and Lolo there was a mother. And no matter what environment and whoever was around them, they chose to murder and abuse the children. That's what they chose to do. So y'all know me, I'm for personal responsibility. I understand that people can pressure you to do things that you don't want to do, but ain't nobody, as I look you in the face, ain't nobody gonna damn pressure me to do anything to my sons. My sons are adult men now, but if they'd been kids, ain't nobody gonna tell me anything. I don't care if it seems like they've got this whole program of, well, I know this looks a little strange. It might be a little tough love, but I've got this whole program. This is going to be what's best for your child. Folks, I'm just a simple girl. If something looks wrong, I'm walking away from it. Jill Schneider's got a great point. Even though there is a big consensus of a lot of people, some people think Chad was under Lori's spell. You know, she had to spread them legs. She had to wiggle that behind. She had to bob them up and down, bob them boobs up and down. She had to make sure not to wear the temple garments. She definitely, she knew how to do it to it, I'm sure. Well, I'm just telling you like it is, Jennifer Cheney. Nobody wants to say it, but I will. She's a hooker. That's what Crescia says, just a hooker. I believe it. That woman could have done anything she wanted to do. At one time, she was a state president. I mean, what? Rob Wood says she used to make blankets for people. Hell, she was a hairdresser. She could have done any damn thing she wanted to do, but she decided to seduce Chad, and Chad seduced Lori. I say they're even Steven. Yes, Jill Schneider, I read that statement on this Ballard fella, and I just find it interesting. Tim Ballard's this right here just kind of lets you know what nonsense is all about. He's standing out. You can find it online where he's standing out in Boston somewhere, and he says it's not true. It's not true. And then he's got some of his supporters, other Mormons there, standing around, and he says, I just can't believe that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would call out one of its members. Like, and they're all in the background going, you're right, they wouldn't do that. Well, I guess he's right, isn't he? They didn't call out Chad Daybell. They didn't call out Lori. They didn't call out Melanie Gibbs, Zulema, the rest of them. They didn't call out any of them. You know why? You know why they called Tim Ballard out this time? This is just my opinion. He's running for Senate, and that's not the one that the church wants to put money in his pockets to get their agendas. They've got someone else in mind. That's my opinion. Has to do with him running for Senate. And, you know, hey, whatever happens, happens. The good news is I don't live in Utah, and I don't live in Arizona, and I don't live in Idaho. And for anybody that does on here, don't get me wrong, y'all are the good people in these states. But I'm glad I don't have to live like that. And I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. Jill Schneider says he got too close to something regarding the church. I believe that he was close to that President Ballard. I believe he was. And he got in a position with him to where it would have been hard. And I think this President Ballard's more elderly. I think he's, 93? I'm not saying he ain't got all his facilities. I'm just saying he just didn't see the forest through the trees. And then as this Tim Ballard started getting bigger and bigger, the church wanted to cut him down to size. You see, in my opinion, the church doesn't want their members looking to Tim Ballard. They want them to be looking at Russell Nelson, right? Jax, if you're talking about where the children there, if you're talking about Ruby, Frankie, that's how everybody's saying it, but I always thought Frankie would have an IE. But anyways, neither here nor there. But I believe the kids are still in protective care, child protective care. What Southern accent, Costco? Southern accent real? I'm speaking my normal. I mean, if you can't understand it, I apologize. Well, have a great day at work. Hey, Nay. Well, look at it like this. Could you imagine, Jill, if someone knows a lot of things that they don't want people to know? It'd almost be like you give me power in this church, or, things could go bad. We could start spilling our guts about things. I'm assuming there's a vice grip in every area of that church. How was Tim Ballard going to cost the church some money, and they are putting space between them? How was they gonna? What space? I mean, what was the money going to be for? Oh, okay. This is just an opinion. We're going to find out. Okay, that'd be good. Follow the money. You always do that. But folks, back to this whole idea of, I think we all, to some degree, can say we know what our financial situation is in life. Wayne and I live by this situation where we kind of embrace this idea that at any time it can be taken from us. And so when we take care of the yard and the trees and the property and do things for it, we do it because ultimately it belongs to God. He gave us the opportunities to do everything we did to have what we have. But it could all be taken from us today, tomorrow, anytime. The government, they've got eminent domain. They've got, anything could happen. And so we don't really look at what we have. We're grateful for what we have. We're reticent of what we have. But that's not what it's all about. It's just knowing that one day him and I are going to be moving on into heaven and just enjoying the here and now. Bye, Jill. That's right, Big Stex. You never know. You never know when the Reaper will pay a visit. But imagine, if you will, okay, just stop for a minute and think about this Corey Fleming, or this Florida doctor down there sitting in a jail cell right now, owns a yacht, he's got cancer, and these other people, all these people that have ended up going to prison, and we're not talking about everybody, we're talking about the ones like these high-profile deals. They had so much to offer and give to the world. Instead, they were wanting to be takers. And they could not see the abundance of what they had. Y'all, here's the bottom line. If everything went to hell today, and Wayne and I shit you not, because we've been there, both of us. If we had to eat out of soup cans and live in the RV, or even live in a homeless shelter, number one, we'd be together. We'd be alive. We see things a little differently. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, material-wise, financial-wise, that would be so enticing that we would just go and do all this nonsense, i.e. criminal activity, to have it all taken away. And all these people that are sitting in jail cells right now. The Chrisleys, they had a TV show. They went out here. They got the Chrisley dad, the Chrisley mom. They had everything in the world going for them. They had beautiful children. They were cheating on stuff with their taxes and all that. It was all about money. They had to keep up that image. They got all of this jail time. A waste. It's almost like they could not see the forest through the trees. If I do this, says Corey Fleming, if I do this and steal this money from these two vulnerable clients and share the money with Alex Murdaugh, I could get busted. I could go to prison for 20 years, and that's exactly where he's going. He's got a wife and he's got kids. And he had a statement. You can find it on Law and Crime Network. He takes full responsibility. He even goes down the list of things he had going for him. Well, he should have been thinking about that and thinking, is the things he's sitting there saying, his family, his community, his job, all these things that meant so much to him, was that not enough? That he had to go out here and try to get something illegally from vulnerable people. It's like people cannot be happy. There is nothing wrong with working hard to increase your financial status. But when it comes down to it, you can only do what you can do. And even if you do everything legal to increase your income and stuff, the way that people treat other people in this process of trying to better yourself. Example, just one out of the air. Somebody, say you got a family, and the husband wants to take up more hours of his time doing something to make his family better off. Well, he's not with his family. That's a sacrifice they're all willing to make. And then what if this venture falls through? You've lost that. You've sacrificed that time. It's like a freaking dang roulette wheel where all the little balls on it. You've got to put all the balls on there and pick every damn one in order to enroll the roulette, knowing you're going to get what you're going to get. Because that's not a for sure deal in this world, y'all. It's rolling the dice on every damn decision we make when it comes to our financial status, our reputation in society. What's interesting is I was listening to Corey Fleming in his statement before the judge sentenced him for 20 years. And he said, you know, I should have gone back to just doing for other people. That's where the real, what real life is all about. I should have been doing this, this, this. But instead, he didn't. He can look back and he can armchair quarterback. He can be remorseful, and I feel he is. I don't think it's an act. I think he got sucked in. Alex Murdaugh made it seem like it was just easy money. And just like it's Russell Lafayette, a family banker from all his family, he got sucked into that. He's spending 7 years in prison. And will he ever go back to the career of banking? I wouldn't think so. And then, of course, you think about how many times that all of us have talked about there were so many options. Even the Judge Boyce told Lori at her sentencing, there were so many things that she could have done. But she chose the most extreme and criminal behavior. She had any and all ways to become the goddess without having to murder her children. If that was truly her, I think it really come down to her and Chad. And there was just so many ways that could have happened that, people could have moved on from. This Ruby and Jody, the bottom line is we're going to find out what we're going to find out about them. But, Jody Hillebrand will never be able to practice her freaked out therapy with a reputable referral from any church or anything. She might have a few of these slugs that are following her around, but she'll never be on the referral list again. Obviously, it's none of my business, but I'd like to know if the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, are they going to put Ruby and Jody there through some counseling instead of kicking them out of the church? And by the way, Tim Ballard, they didn't say, nothing was said that he's kicked out. They publicly reamed him. They were very articulate about it, about what was going to be said. What was interesting is Tim Ballard, in his statement, he said that he had asked his state president, well, I'm hearing all this. And the state president said, well, I know nothing about it. And that's when he said, I just can't believe the church has done this. Well, it's been confirmed, y'all. Does anybody think Salt Lake City Tribune, East Idaho News, the Deseret, any of them are going to put some false info out there? No, they list the media communications guy from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's real. And if he's looking for the Mormon vote, as Mitt Romney got the Mormon vote, I think there's going to be a problem there. A big, big problem. Maria P. says, you reap what you sow, consequences to your actions. Lori got what she deserved, and I agree with that. What I'm trying to home in on is, does any of these people, go when you get off here today, go and look at the news headlines where, for instance, these 2 police officers in Ohio was stealing money from people they were pulling over. Do they not stop for a minute and say, man, I better not do this, I might get busted, end up in jail, which both of them have gone to jail for 2 years. They're never going to work in law enforcement again. I don't understand why people take that leap past logic. Logically speaking, there's this ingrained thing in me, y'all, where I don't want to cut line. I don't want to do anything that, I would stand up. If I walk up into a Burger King and there's someone standing off to the side, I don't know if they've ordered or not, whether they're looking at the menu. And I always say, are you in line? Because I'm not a line breaker. And what I mean by saying it is that these people, They want to break the lines of civil and uncivil society through just being a criminal. There's no way that these people don't know they're breaking the laws. And by the way, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So anytime anybody would say, well, I didn't know that was against the law, it don't matter. You break the law, you break the law. And the reason they've got that there is because they're like, it's not our fault that you don't want to get up to date on the laws. It's not our fault. You should know, you should learn about the laws. And by the flip side of that is if you're not going to learn about the laws and everything, everybody and their mama would say, well, I didn't know, officer. I didn't know there was that there was an open container in the back of the floorboard that I didn't even know it was there. I didn't know that was against the law to have an open container in a vehicle. Everybody and their mama, they might have just got through drinking it before being pulled over and just act ignorant. Well, this Corey Fleming, this Florida doctor, this Ruby and Jody, and even Kevin Frank, I don't care what anybody says. I don't know if Ruby and Jody there told Kevin, yeah, you need to be gone for a little while. This is part of the process. It's like Jody she was very imaginative about creating reasons why couples needed to stop having sex or split up, or she would just keep telling these people over and over again that they were this and this and this, when these people at the beginning were like, no, I'm not. But over time, she'd have them convinced. She would be like, if you don't accept that I'm calling you a sex addict or whatever, if you don't accept that, that's your addiction. Until you can accept you're an addict with no evidence whatsoever that person is an addict. She screwed around with these people's minds, and y'all, I'm telling you, I don't put no blanket statement on there, but as far as these members of this church that have gone and crossed the line into criminality, they ain't got a lick of sense. They ain't got a lick of sense. And then when Kresha was showing on one of her live streams one time, one of the speakers at this Mormon thing was talking about how you can use your endorphins to make you feel good and all this and that. That would explain why these people, they seem like they're high or something all the time. The way they talk like they've smoked a big old fat doobies, y'all. Jody preaches relationships has to die before it can be put together again. Yeah, sure, that makes her move. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess the common sense thing is since when do you allow an outsider, let's just put it like this, would OKJ let an outsider, even if they're a professional, come into my life and split me and my husband up? I think that I would probably do a simple assault on the person. I hate to say it, I'm a nonviolent person, but if somebody tried to convince me to get away from my husband, we'd go at it. They'd be kicked right out the door, buns and all. Hi, 123 Perar, Perar. Glad you're here. How are you, Papa Andrea? All I'm saying is that people are putting too much confidence in man. Too many people are putting... Now, don't get me wrong. We depend on our families. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about confidence in things that we ourselves are well equipped to take care of on our own. I'm all for anyone who wants to go see a therapist or a professional psychiatrist if it will help. But those professionals are not there to tell you how you're supposed to be with. They're not there to say you need to split up, go, be gone this time, let your relationship die, and all this and that. There are good people out there in this profession, and there's bad people out there. And the good Lord, in my opinion, and I believe it, gives us that gut feeling when we meet one of these professionals that this person's a freaking nut job and they need to step back. Go find someone else to ruin their life. Go find someone else to convince them that they're a piece of shit so that you can have them like Play-Doh and mold them any way you want. And the molding usually involves, a little mold toward the wallet and the checkbook. Give me your $2,000 a month. Give me your $3,000 a month. Oh, Julie Rowe wants everybody to know the Wasatch Front might be the last time she ever speaks to anyone again. Boy, I bet she got some good money on that bad boy. And think about Tim Ballard. I'm just learning about him, a little bit about him. Hey, if indeed he's doing work to help free these trafficked children, and there's evidence of that, I say more power to it. If he's really doing what he says he's doing, then why is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints pushing him away? The only thing I can is that he's going into politics. But make no mistake, y'all. Mitt Romney was being financed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That is my opinion. I believe it. So why not? They let him get all big. He had a summer movie come out. He speaks to a lot of people. He did at one time have this relationship with this President Ballard. Why are they pushing him away? Because he's getting too big for his britches? I mean, come on. Lori and Chad, they were getting too big for their britches. And because they were getting too big for their britches, and they knew that they were getting too big for their britches with all these cult members and the way that they saw themselves, they had to create acts to show, yes, indeed, I've seen the face of Jesus, or I was Jesus in another life, says Chad. They want to prove their credentials of their bullshit. So what do they got to do? We'll just murder them. We'll murder these people. It'll all work out because we're divine. These people are nut jobs, y'all. Olive says, these kind of folks were at the back of the quay when God gave out brains. I'm a big firm believer in the Holy Scripture. I don't believe in the Book of Mormon at all. I don't believe it's divine, but for those that, that's not a cut down or nothing, that's just my opinion. But, we're all given, in the Holy Scripture, we're given a measure of gifts. And, some people spend a lifetime trying to figure out what that gift is. Some know what it is right up front. But if someone gets a large gift, as far as God is concerned, and someone gets a measure that's a little lower, does this person mean more? It's not like that. So talk to me, Rays. Tell me what's going to happen today. Is Ruby Frank going to be released today? Are the children going to Kevin Frank? And what about Jody Hillebrand? They didn't even do a report on her that was released to the media about her not being a risk and all this and that. Y'all think Jody Hillebrand's going to stay in jail? Huh? The descriptions have not been fleshed out on who actually put the duct tape. I put a community post on there talking about who put the duct tape. Who put the duct tape. And in both cases, Chad and Lori's and in this Ruby and Jody's, Most of y'all said the mothers did. But who knows? Those children were over there at Jody Hillebrand's house. And Ruby wasn't there with them at the time. I mean, she'd come into the basement 2 days before and shot a connections video there. But she had to have known. Donna Donald says Ruby will be released, Jody not, and Kevin will not get the kids. That sounds about right, Donna Donald. I think I'm going to probably go with that. I really think that this situation, what is interesting, y'all, is what if Jody Hillebrand does have some dirt on this church? She'll use it as leverage to get out of all this. What do y'all think? I know that's a little controversial stuff, but I'm just curious because that's the whole problem with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to me. And I don't even want to use the problem, is they've got this stuff that's so secretive, and I understand that a lot of it that is just sacredness to them. So I know nobody, the good folk are not in there trying to be devious or anything. But when you got so much unseen stuff that you don't know whether it's good or bad, there you go. I had to clarify that. It's up for interpretation, and when you hide things, people normally say, well, why can't you show your love of Jesus? Why can't you be transparent, Why can't you do this? And then, what really kind of clicked for me was if Tim Ballard was so close to this President Ballard at one time, and they kind of knew each other and were doing, and both of us knew exactly what was going on with all these missions and stuff like that. Where the hell does a freaking medium come in? A woman who's a medium, that is opening up blackness, y'all. Now, if some of y'all believe in the dang fortune tellers and the mediums, y'all got your own view, and I can respect that. I can. My view is, that's a bunch of black-ass stuff being brought in there. I guess the church, with everything they put in that Book of Mormon and the way they have the revelations and stuff, I think it's just gotten to the point where they want to see more evidence of this. I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you this, though. Something is beckoning me inside of my heart. This is just me. It's just me being a human being here, y'all. Something is beckoning me in my heart that the shit is about to hit the fan on the whole church, y'all. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Something big is about to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow or next week, but something, I don't know what it is. Something is going to just get blown out of the water. I just have this feeling inside. I hope I'm wrong. I just do, Donna Donald. I don't know what it is. I can separate what I'm reading online or researching from my own thoughts of things, because I take and I leave things. I don't just absorb everything. There are things that I know that I can look at and say, yeah, that's a fact and this and that. All I'm saying is something big is fixing to happen. Rita Mays Resale says it's long overdue. Hi, Ann Gibson. Yeah, Donna Donald. Orbit, as Kresha says. Why is it, y'all? Why is it that this cannot be a coincidence? of, I mean, we're in the sandwich of fanaticism of this religion, because Lori's done, she's toast. Of course, she goes to Arizona. Then in the middle of it, you got Ruby and Jody, and then on the other side, you got Chad Daybell. Then you put the condiments in there of Tim Ballard, and you squish this sandwich together, y'all. It's a shit sandwich. That's what it is, and somebody's going to have to eat it. Somebody's going to have to eat it. Difficult Research will be going live at 2 p.m. this afternoon to talk about the hearing for Ruby and Jody and the outcome. Also, we will dive into Tim Ballard, says Donna Donald. So all you Rays and anyone else interested, go to Difficult Research, type it in, Cresha K. Easton, and she's going to be having, I'm going to be there too. Kathy Barella says this church is condoning child abuse. Where are the authorities? Why aren't the children being protected? Well, Kathy Barella, the problem that the United States of America has had for the longest time is, this whole idea of separation of church and state. And then, you can't, that was the whole purpose of America. They just, come in here, making this country. They wanted to have their religion. As years went by, polygamy was outlawed. There are things that were going on with these different so-called religions that the government said, nope, if it hurts children, you can't have it. We have laws for child abuse and all this and that. What stuns me is that for a organized religion whose head guy, Russell Nelson there, who can see all, or at least see revelation, but he's the leader there. He didn't see any of this with Chad and Lori. He didn't see, Banner of Heaven stuff. He didn't see this with Ruby and Jody. He hadn't seen this with Tim. I mean, I don't know what any of these members must be thinking, because they should be cutting this fanaticism off by the legs. They could do it. But a lot of these people continue to have their membership. But this goes back to also the secular life here in the world. You got this Florida dude down here that's sitting in a jail cell. He's worked all his life as a doctor. He's got cancer. He's going to die. What does he decide to do? Well, he decides to buy a great big multi-million-dollar yacht, throw a party on it with a bunch of loose women, 40-something grams of cocaine, unregistered guns. He gets arrested. That was his solution, because he still could have had one hell of a party without the illegal stuff there. He could have had one hell of a dang. They could have been playing, footsies all night long. They could have been all nude in the freaking jacuzzi on the yacht. They could have done anything they wanted to do. They were grown-ups. They could have had the best time, but no. He had to throw some illegality in there. Now his ass he probably won't go to jail. Maybe he'll be lucky. He might get off with a slap on the wrist. But it's just people are picking the most devastating thing to their life, the possibility of something being devastating, and they're rolling the dice with it. Maybe they're thrill seekers. Maybe they think, well, I can get away with it. It's like Russell Lafayette and Corey Fleming, two prominent men down there in South Carolina. Oh, Alex Murdaugh's got our back. His family name. If Alex is doing it, Alex sure wouldn't want to get in no trouble. So we're safe. And then Ruby and Jody could have done anything, made any kind of decision to stay within the perimeters of civility, the care of children, but they crossed over into child abuse. And y'all, I might be wrong about this, but I think the little boy that came out the window, I think he might be on the spectrum. I'm not sure. But this is what I've been gathering, because there's been a lot of talk about, she said that he was her special boy. And I'm thinking that he might have been maybe not too bad, or maybe, I don't know much about it, but these are just my theories, that he was probably on the spectrum. And he probably needed that extra help going to schools or this or that. She's pulling them out for homeschooling. She didn't want to do that. Lori didn't want to homeschool JJ. You saw the care that JJ got before Lori went downhill. He was going to the really good schools. He was getting help. He was making friends. He was growing and learning and all this and that. I think this little boy that climbed out the window of Ruby's probably was what she termed a trouble child, because she couldn't handle whatever problem he was having, whether he's on the spectrum or not. And I can almost guarantee y'all that Jody did not like this little boy at all. She couldn't have. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Jody Hillebrand that did all this. But what's worse, right? Jody Hillebrand taping up and roping up his arms, and the mother knowing about it? Well, unless she comes out and lies and says, I didn't know Jody was going to do this. Good morning, Salty. My sister Mary has a grown autistic son who works a full-time job. And she's worked really hard with him over the years. I'm inspired with my sister Mary and what she has done. When he was little, he had to go to speech therapy and all that. He had to learn. Obviously, he's on medications, but he works a full 40-hour-week job at a factory, and he loves it. And he has his own money. Kathy Barilla says the child had wounds to the bone. How do you explain that away? Well, Kathy, I am assuming, and I'm just for sake of argument, that whether it was Jody or whether it was Ruby there, they tied it tight, and he probably tried to get out of it and but they still caused the wounds, because you can't ask for a child to sit there and do nothing, especially when they're hungry and they're thirsty, right? They also found markings on him, something in that house that added up to the markings on him. I don't know if it was a spoon, a belt, whatever these women decided to whoop him with. I don't know. Jennifer Cheney says, I was beat and mentally abused by my own mother, but with God's love, I forgive her and we are close now. Well, Jennifer, I've said this before. Growing up, my father was very old school. He only lived till I was 10 years old. He died of leukemia. But before then, he wore my ass out when I did something wrong. It wasn't for nothing. It was usually something I deserved a whooping for. But today, if that would have happened, if my dad and I was the kid today, and he did exactly what he did back when I was a kid, they would throw his ass in jail. Because he either used to switch or belt. And he didn't leave just marks. Sometimes it bled on the back of my legs. And that's considered child abuse today. The bottom line is that society has changed about things. And who are we going to listen to tell us the best way to raise a child? Because ultimately, y'all, every child is its own. As I say, you are the only you're ever going to be. You can't. I've got 3 sons. I could never treat them exactly the same way, even though I tried, so that they wouldn't think one was being treated worse than the other. In terms of my verbalizations or my punishments or whatever, I tried to always do the best I could, but I had to speak differently with each of them because I knew how their personalities were. Good morning, Elba Lopez. Good morning, Cosette Campbell. April Gann said, my mom used to whip me with a belt. I'm fine, but she regretted it. That's just the way it was. RDNAC says, my dad was raised old school. Olive Heatley says, there's rules and discipline in every home. My dad was old school too, and I hated some of the discipline. It was over the top, but usually for bad behavior, etc., but was unnecessary. There's other ways, in my opinion. Well, Olive, I understand what you're saying, but maybe those just weren't what your old school father thought. Maybe he didn't have that within him to look at other options. You know, here's one thing I want to make clear, because I've seen it in my own life. Sometimes, y'all, human beings are just not capable of all kinds of things. It isn't that they don't want to do it, or they don't want to think it in order to make a decision. Sometimes people are just incapable of a wide variety of different things. Does that excuse criminal behavior when that criminal behavior should have never happened in the first damn place? Because these people obviously had something going for them. This goes back to your state right now, not the state you live in, but the state that you're in, your life, your financial, whatever, everything about your life. There's always somebody that's going to have it better than you, and there's always going to be someone who's worse off than you. So you are in control of that in your own life, and you shouldn't make a decision. Well, okay, let me back up. I shouldn't. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes I get the words there. So I always talk about me, because I'm not going to tell anybody else how to be. I shouldn't look at this. Wow, these guys over here at this campground got $1 million RVs. That makes me look like less of a person. Which would be an easy thing for me to think, right? Or be less grateful for the 2014 RV that we own, that the hot water heater went out on, but we got fixed. Or, okay, Jay's looking over here and seeing this guy's got this old, beat up, no air, little RV with wood slats on the windows because the windows have been broke out of it. But he's there. He's making the best there. Am I supposed to think, I got it better than him? I cannot compare my life to others, because my life is my own. And if I focus more on my life as it pertains to giving to others, because I guarantee you this, y'all, between the two guys there, one's got this dilapidated RV, this one over here's got this multi-million-dollar one. I would say the one that's got all the wealth is the one that needs the most help, because they're all, this is just an opinion. That's something they might have worked hard for or anything, but it's a big material thing. And you don't know if that's what people look to and what they feel as their happiness. That guy over there with the dilapidated glass beat out the window with wooden over it, and there were a few of them over there, y'all. They made it, though. They made it to the races. They're probably just as happy as they can be that they're even there, that they don't have to sleep outside in a tent. Y'all don't want me to go into all this homelessness all over the United States. They're trying to criminalize homelessness, and I don't agree with that at all. I just don't. And it can't be chalked off with mental illness or drug addiction. Some of these people are just not capable of holding a job. There are people in people's families that don't have any mental health issues or drug problems, and they can't hold on to jobs. Maybe there is some underlying thing there of a mild mental illness or something. But some people are just, and then there's just people out here that are just plain out living off other people. The bottom line is that some people are not capable of putting together what this freaking system. You gotta have a house or a roof over your head. You gotta have electric and water. You gotta, you're setting yourself up right there. You gotta pay these bills. You gotta have a car. If you don't have a car, you can't work unless you can find someone to come pick your ass up. All of these things that have to be in place in order to just survive. Just to survive. And they want to go out here and get onto these people who are homeless. It's not right. It's just not right. All right, Fancy Nancy, have a great day. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna be over there chatting with all the Rays and everyone else at Difficult Research at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to see what happens with Ruby and Jody. Remember, y'all, we're killing the time. We're killing the time. Waiting on some pre-trial with Chad Daybell. OKJ just wants to spend some time sipping coffee with all y'all. Keeping connected. I hope some of y'all enjoyed my little field trip and over the weekend and everything. I try real hard to put out just, a little something here and there for us all to either get a laugh out of or maybe even learn. KJ's real motive in all of this is to get justice through understanding, which takes putting on the thinking cap and thinking, right? My opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got them. But I'll tell you what, no matter where you are in your life, the struggles that you have, the good Lord's looking out for you. I know it. Even if you don't believe in the good Lord, you'll make do. Things will be just fine. And we'll get back together real soon for another coffee with KJ. And I love you all. So keep on looking.